Let me quickly give you three reasons why you have to give your teenager all the support you can now, and three practical ways you can easily do that. The first reason is, I'm sure you've heard before that the world is a global village, but that statement has never been truer than it is now. And one perfect example that illustrates or shows that clearly is the ongoing African Cup of Nations. I read somewhere that one in every three of the players involved in the entire competition or the entire tournament were not born in Africa. And if we look specifically at Nigeria, the guys who arguably powered us into the semi-finals, I'm talking about Bassi, Aina, Lukman, Ajayi. All of those guys have one thing in common: they were not born in Nigeria. Bassi, for example, whom I think earned his stripes in that final, was born in Italy and spent most of his childhood life in the UK, in London precisely. And what that shows you is, for that your young boy who is or girl who is playing football in the backyard, they're not going to be competing just with the other child in the neighborhood or the other church member or their classmate who is also playing football in the backyard and kicking, knocking some ball around. They're going to be competing with children who most likely grew up in more advanced societies with access to more resource. And that's not just restricted to football, a lot of things in life, academics, career. And so that barrier that differentiates between countries, that forces you or that encourages you to focus on things that is done where you live, is now broken. What happens in Vegas no longer stays in Vegas. It now crosses over to Venezuela, or other V country is there. Anyways, you get the gist. So that's point number one. Point number two is the teenage brain. The teenage brain is in a unique situation. So that transition from into puberty, and then transition all through towards adulthood comes with a lot of changes and a lot of challenges. Most importantly, that area of the brain for an adult that helps you to, weigh things carefully before you arrive at a rational decision, for teenagers, it is still developing. But that part of the brain that helps you just, be very emotional and take decisions very fast and be impulsive, it's very active. And so they're in that place where they need guidance to be able to make the right choices. And look at the kind of options that social media presents to them. Again, that barrier of what is happening in other parts of the world is broken. So there's tons of information for them to choose from. So they need your guidance. Point number three is the direction and of research and research evidence. There are several studies, but there's one particular study, and I'm going to link it in the description, that looks at the relationship between parental and peer support and mental health issues and also behavioral issues. And by that I mean things as serious as teenagers considering taking their own lives being related to the kind of support that they get. Behaviors like use of, stuffs, and all sorts of behavior that you wouldn't want your teenager to get involved in, increases with less parental and peer support. So that's another reason. So those are three reasons. So three ways you can provide the required support to your teenager. Number one, you need to listen and learn. So this idea that I was once a teenager and they don't have anything to tell you, I'm sorry to break it to you that your teenage experience is expired. Things are changing so fast that whatever teenage experience you thought you had is long expired. And I tell you that as a parent. So you need to listen and learn from them. What you want to be is a safe space, not some extra classroom or cut space. They have enough cut spaces on social media and enough classrooms in school already. So don't be one. Just be a safe space where they can come and talk to you. And you need to listen to what they have to say. Ask good questions. Lead with curiosity. Don't try to correct them always. Reflect back and say the things they've said to you. Say it in the way you understand, just to show them that you're really following. And when you are arriving at decisions, let them see how what they said fed into the decision you are about to suggest or recommend. Again, I said decision. Less decisions really. What you need to do is to work with them to come up with solutions. Number two is to inform and influence. And for that, I think when I say inform, there's more than enough information already for them. But what you really need to do at that point is to filter that information and link it to real life experience. And not all of this information available to young people is actually beneficial or useful. Some of them are quite dangerous. And so your responsibility at this point is to help them make sense of the useful information and link them to real life scenarios by maybe sharing your own stories, taking them out to see things. Resist the temptation of telling them and teaching them. But rather, at this point, what you want to really do is to expose them to things that would influence their thinking, influence them by the things you do. I mean, I've seen parents who want their young people to read and have never in their life touched a book before. I wish you luck with that one. Recommend people they could follow online, social media influencers that they can, follow, and programs they can watch, books they can read, things like that. Number three, you need to engage and empower. This is the point where support turns into actual actions. For most teenagers, doing is far more useful and impactful than telling or showing. So give them opportunity to own the actions that they need to take. And mind you, most of these actions should be arrived at working with them and not given to them. So co-create goals, give them real responsibilities. I mean, money management, planning and family tasks, organizing stuff, responsibilities that might look initially big, but that helps them out of their comfort zone. Also very important is for you to praise and acknowledge little wins and efforts, not just results always. And this one is very important. Consequence has a way of teaching people things. So sometimes let them experience consequences. That has to be done in a safe way, but I encourage that you do that every now and then. So, three reasons why your teenager needs all the support they can get now. One, it's a global village, so they're competing with everybody and anybody from everywhere. Number two, their brain is at that point where they need all the support they can get. I mean, that point where they can rationally decide has not been fully developed yet. And number three, science and research shows strong relationship between outcomes in terms of behavior, mental health issues, and the kind of support they get. Three ways you can offer that support: listen and learn, inform and influence, and three, engage and empower. And so, with these 3 points, I'm hoping that your parenting a teenager would have become a lot easier. But as usual, I'm here. I'm just a chat, a comment, a text, or a call away, and always ready to offer my expertise and experience in supporting your young person. So please feel free to get in touch. Leave a comment with your specific situation, and I might be able to offer tailored advice or ideas that might be helpful to you. Also, please subscribe, follow, like, and share. I had to say that so that my boss doesn't fire me.